this tank called the T-10, 8,000 made, before Khrushchev, the Russian premier, he doesn't like heavy tanks, he knocks it on the head. So we start experimenting with bigger guns. And what they reckon, they might need a gun of about 180 millimeters, an enormous gun to fit in the tank, to take on the next generation heavy Russian tanks. And that's the reason this project started, FE 4005. If we're going to need a bigger gun, we need to start testing that gun, and it goes through 2 iterations. The first one, 183mm gun, they test an assisted loading system. This is the second iteration that they actually do most of the test firing from. This project was started in 1950, and what they're really looking at, first of all, is can we get the right type of ammunition? And they start, you may have heard earlier, we talked about HESH rounds, high explosive squash head, 183mm, just measure that out. If you've got a ruler with you or something or other, you start realising that's a big lump that's going to come out the end of the barrel there in terms of its width. HESH is to fly through the air. It's not the force behind the round, but it's as long as you get it on the target, it will impact on the target. So that's one of the reasons that it drops to the side. The other reason, of course, in the background, we learned the lesson that the Russians, actually, they're not building any more heavy tanks. Khrushchev does not like heavy tanks. He's the guy who takes over after Stalin. Stalin, his name is dropped, hence the JS3 becomes the T10 in later configuration. They take that name away from things. So this project comes to an end, but it's still the most, well, the biggest direct fire weapon. Or on a 45-degree arc forward, you don't turn sideways. If you fire that way, you probably knock the tank over. Gearbox to only 2 of the wheels there, the spoked wheels. They're the ones that are powered by the engine that bite into the track and pull the tank along. And if he wants to turn left or right, you'll notice what he's doing. He's actually yanking on a lever. If you yank on the right lever, it pulls the brake on the right side. You will slow that track and turn right. Pull the left, you go left. Pull both back together, you should stop. So with any track vehicle, when you turn a corner, you don't do it smoothly, you turn that corner like going around the edge of a 50p piece. Straight line, pull on the lever, change the angle, straight line, pull on the lever, change the angle. If you keep pulling on one lever, you will burn out your brakes in no time. So that's why you do these little short straight lines.
the M113 is a French light tank, very large gun, the Ajax 13. I'm not so sure that is a good idea. It is a good gun mount, 50 cal sticking out of it, but to my way of thinking, it adds to the height of the tank. And if you are hull down in heavily armoured, big 120mm gun. As it goes past, just look at that turret. That is an absolutely massive piece of cast steel. Creating a turret like that it's an art form in itself, it really is. It's made of flat panels effectively, it's quite squat. Steel anymore, and used composite armour. And in the case of Challenger 1, which came out in the late 1970s, it's a type called Shaw. A Challenger 1 of the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards, 11 Bravo, achieved a kill on an Iraqi tank which was 4.7 kilometres away. That is an extraordinary feat of gunnery. It's a direct kinetic kill. They were firing an APF SDS round, fin round. That's a quite extraordinary piece of tank gunnery. Challenger 1 came into business sort of almost accidentally. Which was designed for Scimitar is part of the CVRT range, Combat Vehicle Reconnaissance Tract. Aluminium armour, only weighs 8 tonnes. So in theory it's well protected until you come across top attack munitions. And if you're thinking about Endor or Javelin here, top attack munitions are aimed at the tank and then actually hit either the rear decks or the turret.
Bars down the side of that vehicle, which instead of being inside, we can see visually outside the vehicle. Now, no point trying to talk when this goes past, but what have we got here?
So we have the Challenger Armoured Repair and Recovery Vehicle, and what's really important about this vehicle is it's also fitted to its operational entry standard, and this will become more significant later on in the display.
Okay, so what we've got is a vehicle that can recover the Challenger tanks. It's got enough power and weight behind it, and a winch and a crane. Now, an armoured engineer variant like this, we can see 9 power on the front, that wonderful arm there gripping the fascine. You know, back inside the museum you see, we used the fascine on a tank in the Cambrai attack in 1917. They've been in the military for centuries, for filling ditches, for being able to make quick crossing points. So this is one of those vehicles, armoured engineers, to help the main force forward, help recovery, help build positions,
Agreed, David. It really is a jack of all trades. Its main role is to clear and create battlefield obstacles.
You need the same speed, the same oomph behind them to be able to keep up together as part of the battle group. And again, as part of the battle group, we're looking here at an old favourite, the Warrior.
Yes, the Warrior, and as you can see there, its turret spinning. On that turret we have the 30mm Radin cannon, and next to that we have the L94A1.
Can stop on a sixpence and then the infantry jump out the back. Now, bit of an old favourite coming on for many people here. Every time it turns up here, Megatron comes in a slightly different iteration, and this one looks different from last year. First things first, this is what I said, Barracuda, the thermal blanket that's on this fella.
Yes, this is, as you said, Megatron. It's our operational entry standard Challenger 2. And your explanation there really signifies why we call this Megatron. So this Challenger 2 is at the Army Trials Unit, and there's a number of experimentation and trials conducted on this tank. Therefore we call it Megatron because it's always transforming. The crew on this one today is Corporal Lana from KRH, Corporal Wright from QRH, Lance Corporal Salmon from KRH, and Lance Corporal Coxon from QRH.
Fingers crossed in maybe a year or two we'll be looking at Challenger 3 coming down here, trials versions coming around the arena. But this one certainly still, let's not kid ourselves, Challenger 2 is still a very potent bit of kit, isn't it?
It is indeed, and when you look at Challenger 3 and the fact that it's using a lot of Challenger 2, it shows how good it is. I mentioned earlier that I would say why it was pertinent that the Krav had the operational equipment entry standards on there. So because of the Challenger 2's uplift to its OES setting, its weight is increased by nearly 12 tons, from just under 63 tons to 75. So if we didn't have OES Krav, we'd have nothing that's able to do any towing.
Now, our friends from the Royal Wessex Yeomanry have also brought down almost the Challenger 2 in its naked state, as it were, the basic version that's used for training. One of the other things you'll notice on this and some of these other vehicles going around, what's called the bird table, those funny little for us here at the Tank Museum. We've had a static member of the Ajax family before. This is Ares, is that correct?
Yes, this is indeed Ares, and Ares will transport and support specialised troops across the battlefield. It's got a number of integrated systems when working with other variants of the Ajax family will enhance the intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition and reconnaissance of recce vehicles. The platform today is again crewed by members of CMC, Sergeant Openshaw from QRH, Sergeant Kai Kadavu from QDG and Sergeant Vittles from Royal Lancers.
I'd make you now start talking to the soldiers that are training on, starting to test Ajax and the family, and the story's starting to change. We're getting very positive reports from what these vehicles can do, and I know you're part of that trials unit that be working on these. What's your thoughts on Ajax now?
So I was fortunate enough to spend nearly 2 years working on the Ajax programme.
Looking now, coming round, this is the Ajax variant, the main recce variant of the new family of vehicles. It's got the 40mm CTA cannon. It's got an amazing set of sensors on this. And one of the things, it's very hard for us to try and get across because some of the capabilities, they're still testing them, they're still not officially out there in all its forms, but this is a step change into a digital age for armour.
Agreed, David. So we now have networks, and the networks and being able to use the iStar we spoke about before with enhanced networks means that we can get this fed back to the battle group a lot more swiftly, a lot more accurately. And when we look at this platform, you've mentioned the 40mm cannon. I've seen that on range and it performs really well. But the iStar capabilities that we can see on there, it really is second to none. Later on in today, when we're doing some serials, we'll be able to discuss what these iStar capabilities are doing and how they work.
Okay, because obviously here, what are these things? What's going on here? You've got cameras, you've got sensors, you've got acoustic sensors, they're listening out. They can take that information, they can spread that data to other enabled vehicles in the fleet, and that will grow when we're getting Boxer, Challenger 3, and Apache helicopters, so you get the right weapon system to deal with the right threat. And of course, again, we're not talking about the guy with a pair of binoculars. Yes, he's still going to be there. We're talking kilometres now, aren't we, of being able to in-depth work out what the enemy are up to and act on that if we have to. 40mm cannon, but otherwise calling in the right weapon system to deal with that threat.
Yes, so the network-enabled environment that we mentioned earlier is all about that. So it's able to feed that to the battle group, to the network, to ensure that the best assets are being informed and able to react. And when we talk about these increased sighting systems, so what we're used to in the armoured community is the primary sight being our main engagement site. Well, on the Ajax, the primary sight is its primary sight used for iStar, and it's constantly surveying, constantly picking up points of interest and feeding that to the group.
And I was amazed when talking to some of the household cavalry at Bulford, that idea is another generation getting.
And now we can see the Ajax, and earlier we said we'd talk about the iStar capabilities. So when it gets into position, the primary star will start moving, and it's conducting something known as wide area search automatic detect. Each time it scans 360 degrees, it commits to memory the previous revelation, and anything it identifies will show to the crew as a point of interest.
Hello, Zero, this is Foxtrot 1 Alpha. Sighting over. Hello, Zero, this is India 22 Charlie, contact way out.
So we've now seen the mutual support of the Warrior and the Challenger. The Warrior has engaged an enemy target, allowing them to provide protection for their dismounts to go and engage a potential anti-tank team.
Hello, Zero, this is India 22 Charlie, contact 1 ton speed on the end and dismount infantry. Engaging with main armament and dismounted assault. Enemy location at grid Sierra Yankee 82978826. I am at grid Sierra Yankee 83058831. As at now, engaging now, woman. Zero, roger.
So as you can see there from the infantry, they're ensuring that they're applying a weight of fire whilst movement's being conducted to ensure that they can move with the protection of the other call signs suppressing the enemy. So it's essential for the battle group that they seize the momentum. So once this serial is conducted, they'll ensure that they get their battle-winning assets to the front as quickly as possible to establish themselves beyond the obstacle.
Zero, this is Echo 11 Foxtrot, simply clear, over. 0, roger.
Section at the front of the battlefield, referred to as a ring of steel.
Hello Zero, this is Tango 3 Delta. Contact 1 Max T72 at grid Sierra Yankee 8297 AA26. Engage destroyed across the bridge now. Over. 0 roger. Foxtrot 1 Alpha, follow on Tango 32 Delta and re-establish the street. Foxtrot 1 Alpha, roger. Hello Zero, this is Foxtrot 1 Alpha, screen at the south, established, no NBC, undetected, far back secure, over. 0 roger, active, all call signs, continue in advance to contact south, active.
Thank you very much for your time and support, ladies and gentlemen.